I have determined that it is time to officially recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. While previous presidents have made this a major campaign promise, they failed to deliver. Today, I am delivering.
That was President Trump Wednesday, fulfilling a campaign pledge and announcing that the United States would move its embassy in Israel to Jerusalem and recognize the historic city as the capital of the Jewish state. Critics say the move only serves to anger Israel's neighbors and further complicate the notoriously troubled Middle East peace process. John Bolton is the former U.S. ambassador to the United Nations and a Fox News contributor. So, Ambassador, welcome. Just as a matter of policy, do you agree with the move to the embassy?
Well, I do agree with it. I think it's the right thing to do. Look, from America's perspective, this simply normalizes the condition that exists in almost 190 other countries where we have diplomatic relations, namely that our diplomats work in the capital city of the country to which they're accredited. And I think it also sends a significant signal internationally, not just domestically, about President Trump and what he says on the campaign trail. We've been intimidated for decades by the threat of violence, and he didn't let it intimidate him.
All right. So but nonetheless, there's the Arab neighbors are up in arms protesting, and there's a suggestion that this might not have been the best time for it when Israel and the Saudis, for example, have been getting closer together because of their shared concern about Iran. What do you make of the Arab opposition here?
Well, look, there are 1,000 reasons not to do this given by the people who oppose it. I guess hoping that, you know, if the United States never acknowledges that Israel has a capital city, maybe Israel won't exist at some point either. And the argument of not now, you know, sometimes in diplomatic lingo, not now means not ever. And I think that's on the minds of some. It's early to really say exactly what the response across the Middle East will be. There's evidence already that some of the demonstrations and violence are being provoked by Iran to stoke tensions in the region. But I say again, when the United States succumbs to threats of violence, it simply encourages people to believe that that might succeed elsewhere.
So the signal that Trump is sending that he's going to honor his campaign pledge, number one, and that he's going to back a close ally like Israel, you think trumps any protest among the Arabs in terms of its impact about American credibility? Is that the basic argument?
Well, I think that is an argument to some of the opposition. Look, the people have said that that this somehow would compromise negotiations over the final status of Jerusalem. It absolutely will not. The president said that. Nobody has ever seriously recommended that the physical location of the embassy be anywhere other than on territory that's undeniably Israeli. Now, will it affect the larger peace negotiations? Well, it's too soon to tell, but one can ask if the peace negotiations are such a delicate snowflake that building a building somewhere is going to affect them. You have to wonder how serious they were to begin with.
All right, well, let's talk about that. Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law, is trying to negotiate broker between the Israelis and the Palestinians, get the peace process back in motion. You know, having served in previous administrations, every president recently has tried this. Every president has failed. What do you make of, Trump says, we're going to succeed this time. What do you make of where those negotiations stand now?
Well, look, it's an enormous hill to climb. There's no doubt about it. But it's also the case, unfortunately, because of developments in the region, namely the rise of Iran, the Iranian nuclear weapons program, its support for terrorism, that a lot of structures and relationships that have existed for decades are now in flux. We've seen Russia re-enter the Middle East in a significant way for the first time since the 1970s. So I think a lot of the old verities here are coming into question. And a move like this, if it does nothing else, recognizes reality. The president made that point. It pops a lot of illusions. But precisely because peace is so complicated, so hard to attain, there's no chance you can build peace on soap bubbles. So I think by clearing away a lot of the illusions that maybe maybe, I don't know, we can make Jerusalem a separate city under UN authority, dating back to the idea of the 1947 original resolution partitioning the British-Palestinian Mandate. It's all hot air. And saying that, I think, is the right thing to do.
All right. So what message should the Palestinians take away from this if they want U.S. support for a deal?
One, Donald Trump is not Barack Obama. Number two, we are going to act in America's national interest, and that means putting our diplomats in capital cities rather than someplace else. And if they want to get serious, give up some of the illusions that they've had that they can create facts on the ground in the Middle East, in the halls of the United Nations, the capitals of Europe and elsewhere. And this, by the way, is a signal to Europeans as well that these old verities are disappearing.
All right, Ambassador Bolton, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.